as a flex option, but ranks very up highly against all those other AD carries that we have been seeing taken very early on. I also think going for ADCs early doesn't reveal too much about what your composition is trying to accomplish. You don't want to get countered out in any of these lanes. You want to make sure that, you know, top lane, jungle, mid lane, you can get some really powerful matchups for yourselves.
Well, let's see what these teams decide to do. Rogue on the blue side, XL on the red side. And you heard the analyst just talking about it. There's some stuff to prove really on both sides of the rift here. XL looking some bigger changes into the summer split. And right out the gate, Senna finds herself banned. So it's only the second ban today. Game 2 and Game 3 went through unfazed, but Varus, again, he's been a really high priority. Yeah. We saw what G2 could do with him earlier today. Umajan was unleashed.
Yeah, Varus is nuts right now with that lethality build. Really hard to deal with, so it makes a lot of sense here. Again, with that Cinder ban too. Seen a lot of Thresh bans throughout the day, Yuumi bans as well. The support pools have been touched quite a bit because there are some of those really powerful pairs, right? You know, Ezreal Yuumi is going to be so difficult to deal with that it feels like you almost need to remove that from the map or have a very good answer.
Both of them are available. Kalista, Syndra, Senna, Rogue's bans. On the other side, Varus, Azir, and Graves. And I love the hover, I love the style. Finn, very well known for his Kled play, despite not having the most recent successes on that champion. And a little pivot to the next step, and that's going to be the Trundle locked in. Okay. I anticipate that going in the jungle. Yeah,
that's a little LEC Kings inspiration right there with the first lock Trundle. I definitely like to see inspired on that, to even get some solo kills up against Caedrel. But now, Ezreal, it's got to be a Yuumi alongside it here. It's just too powerful. You don't want to risk splitting those two up.
And of course, this is the star player for XL, Patrik, in my mind. He's the guy that really stepped up. I think Vedius and Medic were talking about in the analyst desk as well, how in the spring split, he was the sort of make or break. And now you've got Ezreal, now you've got Yuumi, you've got the duo that can carry this team in the later stage team fights.
And one of the things that I've been toying with in my mind, right, for the last couple days is actually like, what is the value of Ezreal compared to other, you know, more traditional, you know, front-to-back team fight AD carries? Well, Ezreal is a champion you don't need to build a comp around. He can play very much on his own. He has a lot of agency to, you know, get away from divers, but it's all primarily going to be single target damage. So when you see an Aphelios on the other side, you want champions alongside it that can set him up to layer down those AoE damages with the ultimate, the Infernum. He's going to be going for Runaan's Hurricane as well. So that's what you're going to get with one of these, you know, Aphelios-like marksmen.
And I really like the peeling options that you get as well from the Lulu and the Trundle. Give you some areas to control, subjugate some of Gragas' expected defensive stats, and Caedrel's got his jungler locked in, and now we're moving to phase 2. So solo laners, both. We're looking actually for both sides solos, mid and top, and obviously XL will be able to counter-pick at least one of them.
And honestly, this comp already looks very familiar for XL. I remember them running these three champions a lot in the spring split, even, where you have really good disengage with the Ezreal and the Gragas barrel. So it's about really setting Patrik up to layer down some skill shots. We'll see, you know, do they want to go for the Zoe type of idea where it's a lot about the poke? Well, maybe you're leaning a little bit too much on magic damage then, with the Gragas and the Yuumi as well right there. But definitely a good option here for XL.
Well, we'll find out in a second or two. Mid lane bans. You could consider Echo to be a jungler as well. Kassadin, Echo, Vladimir taken out of the pool. What is going to be this last one? Different flavor of bans. I think a little more targeted here.
Yeah. I mean, these bans from XL read, hey, Zoe looks like a great pick right now. Both the Echo and the Kassadin have a pretty good time jumping on top of her and looking for kills around that lane.
Jarvan banned out is interesting to me. What does that spell? If they've both got their expected junglers.
I mean, maybe Kryze has a sick Jarvan top. I don't know.
Touche. One of the new players we're going to keep our eye on. And of course, Special. I would anticipate this Yasuo going looking, and it does. Special, obviously promoted from the UKLC. He has actually played 2 games of Yasuo this year in the UKLC. 100% win rate on his 2 Yasuo performances. First game playing in the LEC now alongside, obviously, the knockup from Gragas, and now the counter option is going to be the Ornn. So, now we're going to find out what Kryze wants to lock in.
Yeah, because, I mean, right now, like, you see a lot of good stuff going on. I feel like you just go tank top right now for XL, and it's going to look very good for Kryze, because Caedrel is very likely going to be playing to kill around the mid lane. You see a Corki locked in, which is decently safe. with his Valkyrie to hop away, but at level 6, if Gragas has his flash up, you can still look to kill inside of that lane. I think Caedrel would also be good to make sure, bot lane doesn't run into any trouble, but Trundle and Lulu don't have a whole lot of gank set up there, so it doesn't seem like bot lane is going to be the source of too much action this time.
If I may, I'm looking at Kryze's match history for 2020, and do you know there's not a single tank in there?
Okay.
Not a single tank, but there is a Kayle. Played one, lost it. Unfortunately, he has come from the Prime League Pro Division, and that is a Kayle top lane into Ornn. What does this mean?
No, I love this, right? This is something I believe we've seen over in the LPL as an answer into the Ornn, because Ornn, he's looking to scale towards, level 13, 14, 15, start dumping out some items towards his double marksman within this comp. Well, Kayle's trying to do exactly the same thing, but it's all about her carrying. It's super selfish here, but Kryze definitely has the ability to have massive late game impacts on this champion.
Ooh, I'm excited to see this as well, because this is a player's debut in the LEC. We just heard from Kryze as well. He's the calm voice, but he likes to play the carries. He likes to play from the... His match history doesn't have a single tank. Like, Aatrox, Vladimir is the tankiest things that you could look at.
And when you actually... When I was looking at some of his stats, in the regional leagues, like, he has, like, insane CS numbers. And sometimes it's hard to judge, right? I think we had Sakura come in with similar-looking numbers, and it didn't necessarily pan out to be that same level of success here. But you always look at a guy like this who comes from a background of carrying games.
Yes.
Now he's putting himself in game 1 on a Kayle, which is, the focal point of this.
Yo, so the next level production move would have been to use that video to go from AD to caster desk. I forgot that was coming because I'm bad at my job. And as I start making a meme joke, my producer's in my ear going, intro video! And then I obviously just fall flat on my face. So
I thought you did a great job, Trevor.
Thank you very much. And I'm really happy to hear that, despite the fact it's a blatant lie. I'm going to do a mental reset now. And I'm going to say that we have a Kayle in the top lane being piloted by Kryze in his debut in the LEC. So I want to know, what do you think is going to happen? What can we see from this champion up against Ornn as they're about to bash heads?
Yeah, well, Kryze is just going to run away for now. He doesn't want anything to do with him at the moment. Just got the B as he runs on out there. But I think the Kayle's super interesting because as a champion, a lot of people are like, oh, she just scales. Like, she's got to be bad in lane, right? And in most lanes, she is not too hot. But I think against the Ornn, she has a pretty good time, primarily because of her passive. Now, on the desk, we heard Vedius talking a lot about how Rogue could try to set up dives around that top lane and punish Kryze. But when Kryze, auto attacks enough, he becomes aflamed, right? He gets that AoE damage on his auto attacks, which is really good at clearing away minion waves. So if Kryze is managing his lane properly, there should never really be a huge stacking wave coming up against him, and he should be pretty okay with that. And honestly, Riot has fallen in love with this because you see it in Volibear now. Aurelia has the attack speed stack in on her passive too. So all these champions can try to disrupt any sort of dives coming through. And in Kayle's case, it's super important because you don't want to get shut down. You want to be able to sail off into scaling land.
I really want to see how Kryze manages the wave and what level of impact can come from any potential jungle intervention. I mean, Vedius also, the analyst desk was talking a lot about sort of early game impact that Rogue could have. Nevertheless, Kryze is currently being pushed in, and while that's going on, special on this Yasuo, he's busy pushing towards Larssen. Actually, that wave will bounce back towards him. As I mentioned, Special has been promoted from the UKLC. 2 games played this year on the champion, both of them victories. And just as my sort of lane checkups are going, Summer and Vander shoving very aggressively into Patrik and Torre. That's a lot of minions underneath the tower.
Yeah, Inspired also got inside of Caedrel's jungle right there to make sure that Summer and Vander could push up forward, and that's going to mean very early turret play. Not necessarily on this wave, but that first one already chunked down very low. And I like this as an idea against the Ezreal and the Yuumi because, as Medic was talking about on the desk, really hard for them to get lane control early on here. So just try to push them all the way in towards the tower and chip away at those plates, as Inspired is going to run into a couple of guys right here. But can he smite it?
Dun, 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 dun. No. Caedrel manages to win that one. So Exile going to back away. Just for a quick update as well, for anybody watching, in the next minute or so, you will see all the players disconnect from the server, but nothing will happen. That is because we are playing in a delay, obviously, as the players are playing remotely. Just for competitive integrity reasons, that will happen. So that'll give you a little bit of a brief update. And Ryze, for the time being, plus Kryze, rather, plus 7 CS over Finn's Ornn, but there is a number of minions pushing towards him. Do you like what you're seeing from this wave?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting away from Kryze at the moment, and he doesn't have too much mana, so it's not looking great for him at the time being. Luckily for him, Trundle path down bot side, but I think he took a lot of trades here and is going to want to go back to base pretty soon. And while all that was happening, I think the junglers do need quick mentioning, because when Inspired went to the enemy jungle, I believe he took away both the blue buff and the Gromp camp right there, so all his camps are still up, minus the red buff, and after losing that top lane Scuttle Crab, he immediately ran back towards bot lane so that he could contest that. So while it does even out for the time being, they trade Scuttle Crabs, all of Caedrel's camps have respawned. They're now worth more experience than the camps in Inspired's jungle. So while Inspired is like, hey, I'm fine right now, I'm going to hit level 4 pretty soon, Caedrel should be on track for a faster level 6, and that is very good news for the Gragas, who doesn't really want to duel against the Trundle early game. He's just trying to get levels under his belt.
And isn't that also one of the big changes coming into the summer split meta as well, the XP changes within the jungle and kind of how that'll play into some of the decision making?
Yeah, so the thing about the jungle changes, if you don't know, they did get buffed in experience, but that's only passed when the average level in the game is 9, and that's across both teams here. So early game, it's not going to mean a lot, but that is one reason why I think we're seeing some junglers that want to build damage, that, well, past 15 minutes, they can still continue farm, and now Caedrel's up in the top lane.
Let's see what happens. Is Finn going to be able to dash away for now? Flash is used defensively. Caedrel holding on to his, and now all of a sudden Inspired's coming in. This is going to be a 2v2.5. That's a lot of minions to work with. As Finn will be able to use that Bellows Breath to clear it out, and Inspired has not yet left the area. Kryze is now stepping forward to kill the ward. Is this a double bait? Who's been caught out? Pillar of Ice comes down. Chomp out as well. Defensive flash from Kryze. One more hit may all be that's needed. The chomp from Inspired, and first blood to Rogue.
Yeah, that was a really nice play there from Inspired to wait around, because Kryze, as you can see, desperately needed the assistance of Caedrel to shove in this wave and bounce it in towards the tower. Unfortunately, Kryze holds onto his flash for a little bit too long right there. Needed to get away from the knock-up from Finn, because Inspired on this Trundle, you're always taking the Nimbus Cloak. After flashing on towards Kryze, he's just going to run him down, chomp him, and get that kill. And now without a flash, Kryze is at such risk. He doesn't have TP to get back into lane. He needs Caedrel once again to come on up here. Otherwise, Finn could just lock this lane in front of his tower. Even though Trundle's pathing bot side, Kryze doesn't necessarily know that. He's going to put himself at risk in order to try and fix this lane state.
That's such a difficult situation to be in. Even CS for the time being, and we saw a quick glimpse, by the way, of Larssen returning to lane.
Can we actually look at Finn really quickly, observers? Because he just tanked the entire minion wave to make sure it stays in front there, right? There are about 4 ranged minions. Now he leaves 2 right there, and as you can see, Kryze, he doesn't even have a ward, because there's a control ward right there, and knowing Finn is level 6 without his flash, he's in trouble.
I can hear the pride in your voice at the decision making, and like how happy you are to see Finn doing that and really controlling his opponent, setting Rogue up for another play. Now obviously Inspired will find Caedrel out, so there'll be a little bit more information for Kryze to work with, but level 6 to level 5.
He still loses the 1v1.
Oh, the Forge Guard comes down. Finn misses a little bit, but he's still chasing forward. Not over just yet as Kryze continues to step backwards. Level 7 now. And Finn's not going to be able to find the kill. A little bit more accuracy.
All right.
And he could have got that kill, and Kryze with the angry Bebo.
We're gonna chalk that one up to week 1 right there for Finn. A little bit early on the E, but very nearly was going to be a solo kill if he did play that correctly. So Kryze going to be counting his lucky stars. He's now hit level 6. He can farm pretty easily. Maybe even chase down Finn here, but I think he'd rather just take the wave and the guaranteed EXP.
Yeah, he got the access to the Divine Judgment, but Finn started to back away. No flash available for Kryze. Cloud Drake was picked up by Rogue down in the bottom lane. And we haven't looked too much at the duos for the time being. Hans, Summer, and Vander plus 10 CS over their opposite numbers. Starting to back. VF Sword picked up as well. So I just want to keep track of how that's developing, as it will become extremely influential in the mid-game.
Yeah, and Trevor, I love the 2v2, but we're done. Thomas is going to be going topside.
Yeah, peace out.
Herald has now spawned. They got the 1 play.
That's my bad, right? It's been a few weeks.
I know.
I forgot Herald at 8 minutes, and that is like the de facto move.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting too, because I was almost thinking maybe you want to keep standard lanes here if you are Rogue, because Finn in theory has some gank setup on towards Kryze, but instead they're going to say, hey, if we send everybody up topside, maybe by forcing Kayle to run around the map, she actually loses a lot herself there too. They're not going to jump the gun on the Rift Herald, interestingly enough. I guess just respecting the fact that Excel could come over here. Now, as a jungler myself, I don't like necessarily spending my time to go for the early Herald. I respect the goal it can give towards your team, but I'd rather just farm up if I'm Inspired, because if Inspired maintains a level lead over Caedrel, he can just destroy Caedrel whenever they see each other inside the jungle.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from watching the mid-season streamathon about Ender's lack of interest in neutral objectives. But it is a story for another day, because Inspired and Caedrel currently set up. It does look like Excel going to back away. No real contest. Caedrel doesn't have the support of specials. Yasuo, he's just backed away. Got the Zeal, got those Berserker's Greaves, and with the duo now helping out in spite, and the fact that Larssen can respond, this is an easy objective. Rogue already got a 700 gold lead, and they can use this to accelerate.
And it's really interesting how they pulled the Herald out of the pit right there, because not only does that mean Vision's not going to see it, but also because Inspired didn't have any sort of ward to put in the Pixel Bush, he wanted to make sure he could see if Caedrel was walking towards him through the river to try and steal that one. So making sure they could secure that no problem. And as we were seeing Hansama and Vander play for the turret plates in the bottom lane, when the laning phase was, you know, 2 players in the bot lane, we're going to see probably a very similar idea with the Herald going up there in the next few minutes.
Okay, let's look forward to, as you said, in the next few. Obviously, Larssen is currently level 9. Going to be able to come and join in these plays if he wants to. Inspired is already going to put some pressure here. Tower plates will slowly start to go down, but Patrik and Toure doing what they can to clear out the wave. Good damage onto Hansama. Inspired really didn't do a whole lot through that Pillar of Ice. Maybe more of a defensive, reactive play. Is now Patrik and Toure stepping forwards.
Yeah, I mean, teleports are going to be coming up very soon for both of our top laners, and that, like, you could say, hey, maybe that caused a lot of action, but without any objectives being up, I feel like Ornn doesn't want to TP into a fight, because then Kayle's going to be there, and she drops the ultimate and can sort of shut things down. Just for now, Caedrel's going to be up here around topside to make sure his duo can get a good base. I'm almost sure push out that wave here and maybe chip away at the next one, too, so they can get a really free base here.
So is a Predator usage as well from Caedrel? XL is still in the deficit as far as gold is concerned. I think the analyst there somewhat expected that. You know, talking about some of the early game strengths and impact Rogue can have. We haven't even seen Larssen really look to impact a side lane. Gonna ask fans and viewers to think back a little bit to the last time they saw Larssen on Corki, using a package.
Oh no.
And
don't remind me.
It may not have gone the direction that he would have liked. Larssen unfortunately cast the package into the fountain, which resulted in a net loss.
Yeah, they've got lasers there. Yeah, and you don't want to mess with lasers.
Obviously, very high stakes situation, and this is the opening of a split first of many games to go forward. But he's got the mana immune, still 40 CS on the Cull, scaling up. But I want to see what this Corki can do in the side lanes, because Ender, we were even talking in draft, asking questions on where will he find a way to impact. Right now, hasn't really got the opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, it is pretty standard on Corki just to try and scale on up and get your items here. We talk about it all the time with the changes to Presence of Mind, giving you so much bonus mana, and the synergy that has with Mana Immune, giving you more damage based on your overall maximum mana. This build makes a whole lot of sense to give you big numbers for your team. And the other thing is, as we talk about the scaling with these champions and the Corki in particular, one thing that is often brought up, if I think back to when Kayle was actually popular before, right around the time of her rework, is how do you beat Kayle with, you know, a damage dealer? Well, you can't beat her sort of, you know, when you're both attacking each other constantly. You need to be able to outrange her. Kayle, when she does get ranged, has 525 base auto attack range. Both the Corki and the Aphelios have 550 base, which is nice, but not massive just yet. But on top of that, Corki can poke away with, you know, the ultimate shots, the Q as well. And Hansama, when he has the Calibrum, gains 100 bonus too. So in these fights, if they're ever, you know, hitting each other, you want to make sure you can keep the range advantage and dodge away if you're the Corki, package away if that kill gets too close to you.
That's going to be so crucial as these fights break out. And by the way, 13 minutes on the clock, a number of turret plates traded, but Rogue will be the ones to pick up the tower first blood. And look, Patrik still working away on this bottom lane. Not going to be able to take out the tower itself, but 3 plates have been secured. And that Rift Herald was used, albeit a little later than maybe anticipated. And again, we're just scaling. Athene's now picked up for Ture, level 11 for Larssen as well as Special. The Cole's getting closer to being completed, and this is everything you would anticipate from a summer split sort of team fight meta style comp. And I'm just going to keep my eyes on Kryze. He's working his way up, hasn't yet completed a big ticket item, but a lot of pressure on him to be in the right position at the right time, and he's under threat now. Yeah,
and I really like how Rogue have been playing this, because they have the champions that can sort of take control over the jungle. You know, the threat of a Trundle pillar, the Ornn ultimate when he's going to be around the team as well. They have a lot of immediate damage and the ability to try and catch you if you step too close. That is the power of the pillar here, whereas Excel, if they want to make plays with the Gragas, he's got to be going in. He's got to be risking himself entirely, so they have to play fights a little bit faster or picks a little bit faster than perhaps Rogue need to. So Rogue with, you know, the earlier spiking champions, you know, with the Trundle in the jungle and his ability to fight, are going to be the ones who, when they show up into the jungle, they say, hey, this is sort of our territory now, we're moving on in.
And it helps that they've got the vision to back it up. If you look at that northern quadrant of the jungle, thank you observers for zooming out. Rogue, they made a committed play to the top outer turret with the Rift Herald. They placed a number of control wards, pushed all the way up, and they got the inner turret as well. I mean, it was such a safe, controlled, coordinated play with all of the tools you just discussed, plus the vision to set it up. And that's why, at the 15-minute mark, Rogue are 1,600 gold up. They got themselves an additional kill, and Finn is just going to look for a solo kill. He's gonna get some support from Hansama and Vander, but this time round, Finn hit all of his skill shots.
I'm sorry, I need to get on the phone with PETA immediately because that was not okay. That cat was getting thrown everywhere.
Oh man, just obliterated. Finn finds himself in Ezreal and a Yuumi. That allows Hansama to take another tower. By the way, Infinity Edge completed, 2 kills secured, and in the blink of an eye, the gold lead doubles. Is now 3K.
Wow, that was fast right there. Finn was just hiding in the tri-brush and got that pick. You can see sort of the immediacy of their engage. Hansama?
This is bold. This is real bold. Hansama sidesteps the Mystic shot. And honestly, that was beautiful.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's like Hansama, Misfits, Draven, flashing over walls, going for kills, going crazy. You love to see that. And now he's also going to be in a side lane as Excel are the ones starting up that Rift Herald. So sure, they get a Rift Herald, but it's a trade for a tower, so it's pretty meaningless at the end of the day.
That was sick. That was absolutely sick. Vander and Hansama double team to shut down really the sort of the lead carry player-wise on Excel. Now, admittedly, Kryze on the Kayle still needs a lot of time. He's just picked up the Gunblade this very second, and with the help of the Rift Herald, will pick up Excel's first tower. So it's by no means game over yet, but Brunan's Hurricane is now picked up to back up the second assist for Hansama, and Rogue are feeling good. They're making the proactive plays. They're the ones throwing the first punches, and they're landing them.
And I am getting a little worried for Excel now, too, because one thing that we talked extensively about during the draft and the extended break before we got into this game was Gragas plus Yasuo, and can you actually punish around the mid lane post level 6? Well, we never even really saw an attempt. Vision was sort of dominated by Rogue. They went for that early swap, which sort of threw things into, well, it's not laning phase anymore. It's we got to go for towers. There's no really ganking to be had, and that sort of slowed things down for Excel. They weren't able to find any sort of moves with Special, who had priority a lot, but couldn't find a dive paired up with that Gragas, and now that's meant Corki's got to scale pretty freely and is nearing that point where he's nearly unstoppable on 2 items.
So what do? I mean, on the side of Excel, they still have a Kayle, they still have a Gragas Yasuo combo. They need to somehow fend off this mid pressure. This is a 5-man stack for Rogue. They are coming for this tower, and Excel, they're on the back foot once again.
Yeah, Excel are trying to 1-3-1 right now just to pick up CS, while Larssen gonna jump on in there to chunk out Caedrel a bit. Rogue setting up 10 seconds away from the Ocean Drake spawning, so that's what they really want here. Now the thing is, Caedrel used his TP to get mid lane for that tower, so when he's seen responding to the wave up top side, well, Kryze is gonna say, hey, I have a TP advantage. This is actually a moment where Excel can be the ones to go for the Drake, when I really thought Rogue were just gonna give up that top lane tower because it's solo already, and that's where you see Larssen realizing his mistake, perhaps, or just saying, I wanted to pick up the one wave before coming back here, because now he has his Trinity Force, of course. Rogue are going to say, it's time to contest, let's draw a TP out of Kryze, and Excel probably going to give it up.
Okay, Excel, we're going to be able to secure the second tower of the game the top. It's 5 towers to 2 now. 3 kills to 0. Inspired will have the support of Larssen, and Finn has his teleport available, so he's backing away from that bottom lane. As you rightly called out, Ender, no real contest from XL, and this dragon will be given up. They are able to secure 1 tower top, and Kryze gets a little bit of chip damage on the inner, but nothing really meaningful.
Right, so the way XL are going to continue to play this, and we just saw a little preview of the next 15 minutes of this game, is splitting up into the side lanes, right? Kryze needs the golden experience, so he's going to be farming Krug, Scrump, whichever side of the map he's on, as well as the minions in the lane. Special doing a very similar thing, because XL aren't necessarily all about the team fights. They're weaker in items. We heard the analyst desk talk where they think Rogue's not much easier to execute. So they are instead going to be playing for these towers and the waves, whereas Rogue are looking to force a fight with 5 people. So the breaking point of this game is going to be, when is there an objective that XL must fight Rogue over? And that could be in 10 minutes, the Ocean Soul. That could be in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, a Baron attempt for Rogue. Rogue are constantly going to be trying to draw XL towards them and then pouncing on them.
Oh, and with the Ornn engage, as well as the disruption from a Trundle and a Lulu,
hey,
XL have to dance on a knife's edge.
But here's the thing, they've got a Yasuo wind wall, so it's pretty good, but that doesn't work if he's in a side lane. They still do have good disengage with the Gragas and the Ezreal, but maybe they want to switch things up and not play the entire map, because that can be hard when you don't have much pressure, and just put everything into Kryze trying to go into a side. Well,
let's find out. He's level 13, got a small advantage over Finn for now. XL only 2k gold down in 20 minutes. That's not insurmountable. But really, 5 towers to 3, the map play, kind of the control, is still leaning on Rogue's side. A big item pickup, though. Infinity Edge just secured by Special. Also, Patrik on your screen has just dinged level 11. He's got that Triforce and the Mirror Mana. And you can see Kryze working his way towards that Nash's, so it won't take too long. And I think that'll be a big jump in effective combat power once he's managed to pick up that Nash's too.
Yeah, Special's now got that 100%, waiting on Kryze. Still, as Patrik gets a lot of damage on Inspired.
It is indeed. Subjugate will come out and buy some time. You can hear the apprehension in my voice waiting. Call of the Forge God comes down. Still catches onto Patrik, forced to use the flash. Special's running for his life. Finn goes in, gets the knockup. Patrik and Torre are in trouble. Patrik's gonna get taken down, and Torre forced to swap to Special. Larssen went low, but Kryze, crucially, did not teleport. He continues to push the bottom lane, but at what cost? So far, 1 death.
Yeah, XL had to have thought Finn was still in the bot side, otherwise they would have never made that play. Now Rogue, knowing Kryze is down bot, are going over towards this Baron. They want the team fight here, but they don't have that Ornn ult, and that's going to make it so hard to make this play happen. And without starting it up, it's just going to be a tower trade in the bot lane.
Do you call word? It is a kill on the side of Rogue. I believe it was Hansama that picked it up for a tower on the side of Kryze as well as XL.
I think it is worth, maybe not the one-for-one trade right there, but the context of, hey, Ezreal's flash is gone. Both defensive summoners on the Yuumi are gone. The flash on Special also going to be missing. So that makes this next engage only going to be that much easier. If the Ornn ult or if the pillar baits out Ezreal Z, then the Ornn ult means death. Right? And we already know Rogue can jump on you and have the damage to punch you out. So, I mean, looking at that play, it was XL that were the aggressors, and I think it was an overstep, and it's something we even saw from them a bit last split too, where in the mid game, sometimes they go too far, and without really knowing that Finn was right there to counter that engage, they got punished for it.
I really want to set an imaginary timer. Look at those flash timers on the XL side, Special, Patrik, Torre. If they come back available before Rogue have initiated, frankly, I'm disappointed. I want to see Rogue force an engage. There's a minute and a half until the next dragon, and obviously Baron is potentially available. If they're feeling bold enough with Finn's tankiness, as well as double ADs, I think they could bait it. So I want to see if they can. You can see Finn still waiting in the wings. Call of the Forge God is up, and then good luck to Patrik and Special, who are going to have to really be on point as that fight plays out.
Right, and with Rogue sweeping through this bot side jungle now for XL, just a minute left on the Ocean Drake, it again seems like XL will have to give this one up. And again, that's not the end of the world, but that means 5 minutes after that Drake falls, they must contest, because Ocean Soul makes this team unbeatable. The frontline tanks are never going to die with a sustain plus a Lulu. Hansama is now building in towards lifesteal as well, so just forget about it if you are XL fighting against it.
Yeah, tickets, absolute tickets. XL more afraid of the Baron, you can tell by the vision. A lot of wards around that one, but like you said, You can give up Dragon 3, you cannot give up Dragon 4.
And it's the natural trade, right? Excel can't fight Rogue head-to-head. I mean, even though the gold is close, it doesn't feel like they have the firepower just yet. So while the bot lane division goes down for Rogue, Excel say, hey, we know you're down there. We can get vision on Baron. Make sure you don't sneak that one away. Also notice how even though Special is the one without TP, he's topside, so he's far away from the action. But that's because he doesn't have flash. So he's very vulnerable in a side lane, making it difficult for him to push anywhere near where Rogue's main force is going to be.
We're 24 minutes into this game, and I have to go all the way back to the first 5, Ender. Rogue spent some time in the top lane. Inspired went up to gank and give some support to Finn. Finn, frankly, has been outplaying Kryze in the 1v1. We saw a number of engages. He was willing to pick those fights, and it felt like he got the better of him.
Yeah.
And that has kind of trickled down into this lead, this control where Finn has been able to be involved in the initiations, and the rest of the Rogue just backed him up.
And the important thing to note about that top lane matchup was it was not mechanical excellence from Finn outplaying Kryze in the 1v1. It was actually just wave management, and Kryze, frankly, mismanaged his waves at times. Made a call for Caedrel to come around. They didn't respect that. They hard lose that 2v2 when Trundle runs up. And then there was that mechanical error from Kryze, who didn't immediately flash away from the Ornn. And, you know, he's doing fine in CS. It's not a big problem for the team at all, but these are the things that you do need to critique when a player comes fresh into the league.
And imagine the different scenario had Kryze been in 100% control of the lane, had not been able to be, you know, bullied and pushed around, so to speak. Look, it's still a CS advantage. You've got the Nash's Tooth right now. And again, it's only a 2,000 gold lead. It just feels bigger.
It is bigger now because you have the Molten Edge for Hansama's Aphelios. He's finished the Death Stance too, which, if you don't know, also gives you resistances now. So he's got armor to deal with Ezreal and Yasuo. He's got magic resist, so there's no one-shot coming through on the Gragas, who's built very heavy on that magic penetration.
And 3 minutes away from an Ocean Soul, which frankly, Rogue are going to want to fight over. So let's see what happens with Excel. Caedrel 0-0-0 on this Gragas has not found an opportunity at all. And, you know, for Excel, for the comp they put together, our analysts called it out. It's a difficult comp to pull off. You and I were giga surprised by the Kayle, excited by it, but it hasn't yet delivered. And now Kryze is in trouble. He's going to flash over the wall and take that blast cone to safety. I am still a little disappointed. There was no big fight from Rogue. Special Patrik and Torre. Your summoners are
that's not Rogue's fault. Okay.
It's not. They were like they got a dragon for free, right?
Sure.
But I would have liked to have seen them fight, and now XL are backing away. I don't think they start this. Surely they don't start this.
I mean, they have 5 people here. They can try to draw Finn's teleport out, which is going to be a big win for Kryze in the side lane, but you don't win the fight. You just get the TP, and that's going to be good enough for them.
It's a bait play. It's a bait for that TP, and now Rogue, they're going to group up. Rapid Fire Cannon was just picked up by Larssen, by the way, and now Inspired is clearing out that vision. 2.5 minutes to the Soul. Baron is available, and I'm looking at control wards. A couple of them in the inventories now for Rogue. So for Rogue, it's just wait for that objective, force Excel's hands, and that's how you unlock this game.
Yes, that is going to be the look for them. Now Kryze approaching level 16, so I know chat's eyes going to be popping out of their heads right now, especially with the Rage Blade on the way too. That's going to be a big spike for Kryze, but again, needs to play these fights very, very well to find success. As the scouting goes down on Baron, they know that one's not being started up, but again, Rogue don't need to take too many chances here, but Excel maybe need to.
Oh, yes, they do. I didn't think anyone is going to hop over the wall. I wondered, considering Hansama's bold flash earlier this game. And Rogue are looking very strong in their debut game. The Pillar of Ice interrupting the body slam. Call the Forge God comes down. There's no special to Wind Waller, but that's a very good stopwatch. That's going to keep Caedrel and the team alive. Now Rogue backing away. Kryze is playing the side lane, and he's pushing the tower. Level 16.
Yeah, he just hit 16. He's going to continue the push on here because Larssen, the only player with a TP, was grouped up with Rogue trying to find a fight. They might find it now.
Special! No! What was that?
But the bot lane. Kryze is still pushing. Larssen canceled his reset, so it's going to be 8 more seconds. The tower will fall down here. Question is, can Kryze actually get that? Patrik, if he wanted to go for the pure trade, could TP in here to help out Kryze if he needs it.
Larssen's going to be able to defend the inhibitor, so Special ends up losing his life without Kryze being able to pick up the crucial inhibitor.
Yeah.
Baron goes the way of Rogue. They get the kill as well. It landed in Hansama's pockets. that gold lead extends even further. And yes, Kryze is unlocked. Yes, Kryze is a level 16 Kayle, but he didn't get the inhibitor that would have bought XL the time they needed.
Yeah, and it still doesn't feel like he's level 16. Now they win the game, right? It's not Cassidy. But yeah, so now with Baron going over, it's certainly not worth for XL because we're 30 seconds away from the Ocean Soul. The soul that we said was going to just, you know, nice and tidy wrap up this game for Rogue. They're going to have all the control in the lanes setting up for this one. Kryze is back top lane trying to push out the waves. He has the Rage Blade now. Like, that's good news for him, but it's bad news for XL that they cannot get control inside of their own jungle.
No, not at all. There's a 5-man stack from Rogue with Baron empowered. Hunt Summer and the Chakrams manages to get the root of the special as well. Call the Forge Guards up. Wind Wall is on cooldown. XL, they're not even positioned to defend their towers.
Yeah, they just can't do anything right now. Hansama freely walking up here, and here comes the Forge God.
It does indeed knock up onto Caedrel. The barrel is insignificant. And as it stands, so are XL's efforts against Rogue. 5 kills to 0. And despite the fact they've traded 7 towers to 5, it has always been on Rogue's best interest. It has always been for the advantage of Rogue. Here we go! Oh, that was fantastic. Larssen's going to jump into the back line. Finn's going to find the double knockup. Caedrel is already popped and bopped, and Special gets melted inside the jungle. Divine Judgment comes down, but you have been judged, and you have been found wanting. XL are torn to pieces, and Rogue are pushing into the base. The first pick, Ezreal, Yuumi, will be the last people standing as Patrik and Torre can do nothing but watch their base get obliterated.
It's just a brilliant team fight right there from Rogue, flying into the backlines, tearing XL apart. They've been in control this entire game, and it just took one 5v5 to put the nail in the coffin.
30 minutes flat. Rogue will take down the Nexus, pick up the first win of the summer split. And honestly, Rogue made a statement in how they ended that game.
Yeah,